Should we start it? Good morning. Can you all hear me online?
Maybe talking to
Sorry.
So just
Yeah, I was just, sorry, I was thinking about unmuting somebody. Can you raise your hand if you can hear me online? Corey, I'm gonna unmute you. Can you talk to me when you hear me?
Hey girl, how's it going?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool, I can hear you now. Hey.
Hey.
All right, I will get started in just a second. So you think you're more register for face-to-face, right?
There were 15 registered face-to-face.
In the room, like, people in there.
And I give it another minute. Let's give one more minute, in case anyone went to the bathroom.
Y'all had a good summer?
Too short.
It's always busy, right? Yes, a few people popping on.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, we'll get started in just a second. Just waiting for everybody to navigate to this room from the main session.
And if our folks online have questions, at any point in time, there is a question feature on the webinar, and you can type questions, and I will be monitoring those throughout the webinar.
Anything else? What time do we break for lunch?
12.
I'll hold me to it. You know how I can get. Sometimes. Does anybody in the wireless information or y'all get on the other room? Pam, apparently I've been here since the time I thought I was here because that's what was wrong.
Oh, it had like an old password.
Password. So I don't remember us having one here last year, but we would have had to have.
We did. We had it in August when I was on maternity leave.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
What's the wireless?
It's WCS guest, and the password is vacation19 with an uppercase V. Because we all wish we were on vacation right now, right?
Yeah. Can't tell. I'll type it.
Christy, can you just click on the questions icon? Do you see questions? On the webinar? Like the little question icon?
Yeah, I can contact the password. Yeah. For some reason it had that hard to get the drop-ins from the. Okay.
A little, oh, okay,
A little bit. Yeah. Thanks for letting us know. If it gets really bad, tell us and we'll see if we can adjust.
Where the mic, because the microphone's right here.
as Pam said, she is monitoring the chat and the questions, so if you're online and I need to slow down, repeat, we need to speak up, definitely let us know. And also, if you have any input or questions, please do. For those of y'all here, thank you. This is going to be odd. I'm not usually done like both virtual and a face-to-face session at one time. Actually, a couple times, for whatever reason, unique situations in our district, I was asked to help set that up as a classroom environment for kids, and I refused. Just because I think it's odd, right? It's hard to talk to someone engaged, but face-to-face and online. So I'm going to do my very, very best. But y'all just know I'm struggling. I think that everybody probably knows me. Let me go through the agenda real quickly. We're going to do some welcome introductions, make sure we all know each other. We're going to, based on the feedback and the survey that went out, we'll talk about beginning of the year preparation. We'll talk about new grade book, new quizzes. They've just decided to stop calling quizzes next, and start calling new quizzes. So I'm trying to adapt to that language too. We'll look at a couple of product updates and reminders, as well as just make sure that your Canvas contact for your district or school is up to date. And then we'll start dropping down some hot topics for this afternoon's discussion. Because generally during the afternoon, we come in and we have more like a round table type discussion. But I always say this time is y'all's. Like the whole reason for these home-based meetups is for you all to collaborate. So at any point in time, we need to veer off of the schedule, the slide deck or whatever I've got going. Just let me know if there's something that you need that I'm not covering. I thought that we could just say our name, our school district and role, and then one thing you're planning to do with Canvas this school year, whether it's something brand new or something like just a renewed emphasis, something that you think that you have planned for Canvas in your school or district. Before I ask you all to introduce yourself, just for everybody to know, I'm Christy Boren, I'm Strategic Customer Success Manager for Canvas. I have a partner in crime, Lauren Maris. She is based in Utah, where the construction is. Am I not loud enough? Lauren is based in Utah, and she is she's my partner. But between the two of us, we serve the whole state of North Carolina. So a lot of times you'll see an email, North Carolina K-12@restructure.com. Turn on my audio. Turn on your microphone. I'm gonna turn mine off. All right, y'all give me just a second. Let's do some technical stuff.
Sorry.
It's okay. I just can't do it. This little man over here. Can you hear me? Sorry, I was still muted, so I had to unmute. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Awesome. But yes, anyway, Lauren and I work together. So you'll see emails from me, emails from her, emails from North Carolina K-12 at Instructure.com. I was a former Spanish teacher, worked, lots of different roles in the district, working with instructional technology, PD, and media, and decided to come to Canvas last year. So I can't believe I've been here like over a year now. And one thing that I'm planning to do personally is, as Pam and I have gone around the state and worked with teachers and different teacher user groups, I just really noticed that there's a lack of basic foundational understanding of how to build a Canvas course. So my commitments for this year is to figure out how we rectify that. I think that teachers, I don't know what's happened, but they've seen pieces maybe of other people's courses, and so they've started doing one or two things, but they don't really have a true understanding of how to design a course. And so in a lot of places, obviously we got people that are rock stars that do things way better than I could do. But I think that we've seen large groups of people that have just some gaps that we need to fill in. So that's my thing to do this year. Does anybody want to start in the audience? You mind?
I can start.
Thank you.
I'm Jordan Caldwell. I'm the new instructional technology specialist for Through City, I replaced Perry Hall. And so in our district, we are actually beginning to kind of transition into a one LMS district. And so we're kind of encouraging and pushing Canvas as that one LMS. We are finishing, tomorrow we are the end of our third of 4 3A long Canvas PD sessions for the summer. We were able to offer a stipend for teachers to come in. Next week, they won't receive a stipend because it'll be work-based for us, but we were able to offer a stipend to teachers for teachers to come in and learn how to build in Canvas and also have time to actually dive in and start building their courses for this upcoming school year. Since we're transitioning 1-to-1 in grades 6 through 12. We were 6 through 8, 1-to-1 with Chromebooks last year, and so this year we're going to be 1-to-1 all the way through up through 12th grade. So.
Love it. That's great that you're able to use that money to help incentivize people to come and give them time too. Yeah, those summer sessions where they can just come and collaborate and build sometimes can be the most valuable that you can do. We did one year, we called it Canvas Collaboration and Cupcakes, and we just had lots of cupcakes for people, and they just came for 2 days and worked on their Canvas courses together. They, went out to little small groups.
Next time I do that, let me know. I love cupcakes.
All right, I'll do that. All right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is J.C. Anderson. I'm the director of Oakland National Academy for the Orange Charter School in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is our first time actually utilizing Canvas, and this is, we're going into our 3rd year, so we really wanted to get back to utilizing the products that UPI offer. We feel like that would be a great tool for us, and especially as they prepare the news. So I'm pretty excited to see what we can gain.
And what's the name of the charter again?
Oakland National Academy.
Okay, cool. Welcome.
Leanne Holmes from Moore County Schools,
Uh-huh.
and STEM grant coordinator and campus administrator. And we've been using Canvas for a few years, but they still have not made a switch to say everybody has to use it. So we're getting, every year we get a lot more with Canvas. And this year we are actually starting our first online, where our district's doing our own online school. So,
Awesome. What classes are you starting with?
psychology and Math 1, and then a couple of the CS math classes, the local credit math classes.
I don't know, this is an interest to everybody for this afternoon, but I think it's, there's so many virtual and online programs within school districts now, in schools, individual schools. It's an interesting phenomenon. Like what I'm hearing is because of the CCP stuff, a lot of the audience for the traditional courses that you may have offered online are now transitioning to the CCP and the community colleges. But so now there's this big emphasis on creating cool electives for kids for the virtual programs. Anyway, so I'd be interested in hearing if anybody else is experiencing that later too. Yes, I skipped you.
My name's Leanne Fry. I'm the high school director of Caldwell County Schools. I'm a newbie to this. My first experience was high school teacher administrator, and I went to the elementary school for 7 years, and now I'm back to the high school world, so I'm trying to really just catch up. So kind of starting from scratch, but replacing Katrina McMillan, who's now our assistant superintendent for educational program services, who was in this role. So.
And at least you still have that support in district, so
Absolutely.
when you have questions, that's good. Well, welcome.
My name's Lee Clark. I'm from Asheville City Schools. I work with technology and I'm just here to figure out how to help our district with you.
There's a Bavarian restaurant in Asheboro. Is it really good? People tell me a Bavarian restaurant, it's like DI freaking Dill, I don't know. We were talking about it last night because somebody told me it's like the best German food that you can get in North Carolina, so, but you don't know. Okay, I'll just have to go try myself. Thank you.
I'm Sabrina Norman here at Wilkes County Schools, and I'm a teacher for Power Teacher Pro, but also in helping with Canvas since Dr. Carrie asked me to split this last year. So I'm working with Berlin Burkhart as well as my teachers with that. And we've been using Canvas basically since, it's been offered, but since its inception here in Wilkes. I guess one of the things that we're kind of going to focus on this year is offering more PD through Canvas, some online courses that teachers can take to earn their DLC credits. We have a few already in place, but we're looking to add some additional courses.
Yeah, and if that's like something we want to talk about this afternoon, I've got lots of resources and ideas too for that. Yeah. I can show you lots of examples of what people are doing across the state.
And I'm Susan Call, I'm the digital learning facilitator, also here from Wilkes County. And I'm here sort of as a backup to these two ladies that she just mentioned in the absence of Dr. Carrie Adams, who was at Canvas.
I'm trying to remember, where did Carrie go?
Wake Forest.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I knew, but I couldn't remember. Well, thank you for being here. Ms. Pam?
All right, good morning, I'm Pam Bachelor, and I'm probably one of the ones along with Christy that spans the email from DPI's product manager for Canvas, along with SchoolNet and OpenSC and Imagine Math, and just like y'all, lots of hats, right? So one thing that I'm excited about is working with Christy, we're gonna be offering those webinars and also start with some Twitter chats. So just kind of bringing forward that knowledge of what's going on in Canvas across the state. And I'm excited to leverage some of our social media. I think Twitter's a great place. I love my Twitter chats that I've participated in, and I've found so many cool new ideas from them. So I'm excited to bring that to the state.
You know what I did not drop into this presentation was the webinar schedule. I should have done that.
Well, you might have a friend that can do that.
Maybe I have a friend that could do that.
So I did ask the folks online if they wanted to introduce themselves, if they wanted to raise their hand, and you would unmute them.
Yeah.
So I know, I think Alyssa has graciously asked to go first, and then if anyone else online wants to introduce themselves.
Okay. And I've got you unmuted, Alyssa. Alyssa?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I sure can. We can.
Good. Alyssa Knight, McDowell County Schools. And I'm learning Canvas. I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm learning right now and looking to see how it can transition with SchoolNet. And I'm also going to be working with a middle school this year for the first time. So something new, but I'm excited to learn with you all today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thanks for volunteering to go first. I'm going to mute you back. And Corey, I'm going to unmute you. All right. You're unmuted.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Corey McNeil. I'm the lead teacher of instructional technology with Rowan Salisbury Schools. This is year one, and actually, believe it or not, day one for us in Canvas. Students are here today. So that's why I'm not with you all today. So I'm fielding questions at the same time from teachers and staff members. So lots of fun going on for us. For my big goal around this is working with our tech facilitators, obviously, to get this out and adopted by our teachers and staff. And how can we deliver that professional development to them in a way that's easy for them to gain access to.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey, and good luck today.
Acacia wanted to be unmuted.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did I lower her hand? Okay.
I lowered her hand accidentally.
Okay. All right, Acacia.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Acacia Salmons and I work at Union Academy Charter School in Union County. I'm the instructional technology facilitator and I serve K-12 teachers. The new thing we are doing and excited about in Canvas this year is the Canvas Studios. The teachers are really excited about that. My personal goal with Canvas to try to get teachers more on board with using the gradebook.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm so excited to work with you on Studio and hear feedback and how that goes. So yay, glad y'all got that. All right, I'm gonna mute you back. Corey, your hand's up again. I'm not sure if that was an accident or not, but I understand.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm gonna mute you back then. Would anybody else like to introduce? All right, Katie Stewart, I'm gonna unmute you. Go ahead. Katie, can you hear us?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yep, sure can.
Hi, I'm Katie Stewart, the Director of Technology at Union Academy Charter School, where Acacia is. And I echo what Acacia is saying with the Canvas Studio. We're really excited about some of the things we've been able to do with students and teachers so far since we're already back in school. On an admin level, we're really trying to push our administrators and school leaders to model for their teachers the use of Canvas in some of their communications and trainings with them. So we're hoping that that's going to help, and we're already seeing a difference with that with some of the principals.
Awesome. Yeah, and one of the things I was going to remind everybody of today is that at NCAT, I've been working with Elizabeth, and we're building out a 4-part series for principals. And so she is already running parts 1 and 2. So if you have principals that you want to have Canvas training, I'll go ahead and tell you the first part focuses on them using Canvas and it can be for district leadership as well, not just school level leaders. But it talks about using Canvas to flip faculty or department meetings. And so it walks them through doing that. The second part talks about how Canvas can be used for PLCs. And so it has them set up a Canvas course to use for a PLC. And then the third part is going to, because it's not yet built, but it's in development. The third part is going to talk about developing a list of look-fors and how using Canvas really helps teachers respectfully differentiate, and how principals can conduct and district leadership can conduct virtual walkthroughs to really see that personalization and differentiation that you shouldn't be able to necessarily see when you walk in a classroom. Because if I've done it well, I might not know that those are ability groups, right? Or that there are ability groups. And so we're going to talk about that. And then the fourth one will be on connecting parents and community through Canvas. So your admin need DLC credits. NCAT Online is free. The courses are already built. I think that that's a good progression for principals and district leaders to let them know like ways Canvas supports the work they do specifically. So, I encourage you to advertise that. And I've got more information about it later. Leah, I saw that your hand was up. I'm going to unmute you. If you don't want to speak, just say, I'm good.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Leah Powell, and I'm actually from Granville County Public Schools, and I am a digital teaching and learning coach within the district, as well as a teacher for our blended school, Granville Academy. We started a pilot program last year with Canvas, and this year we are trying to implement it within our schools alongside of our existing LMS. So a goal for us for this year is we are going to use our Granville Academy teachers in grades K through 5. Their curriculum will totally be housed inside of Canvas, and we're going to kind of start there. And then we have pockets of teachers throughout the district who will also be implementing taking their content out of our existing course or our existing LMS and using it inside of Canvas.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, that's a big trend is for districts and schools to really start with putting curriculum resources in Canvas and PD in Canvas for teachers to get used to in that environment. What I have decided is now really an interesting phenomenon is that I have talked to so many teachers this week that say, I didn't even know you could use Canvas with students. Because it wasn't that's not been their experience. So they never even processed that that's what it really is designed for, as a learning platform for students. I thought it was really neat. I know that those districts are moving in those phases. It was interesting to me to hear that. Really cool. Does anyone else want to, let me get there. Okay, all right. Do we have anybody else wanting to introduce yourself or tell us what you're going to do in Canvas? Nope. My wait time's bad, so I'm going to move on. Just as a reminder, these are the dates for 1920 for the home-based meetups. Typically, I go to every session. This just happened to be a week where I was scheduled already Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday in other districts. So Wednesday was the only day I was available. But this is the schedule. I do plan to be at all the sessions moving forward. And you know that there's flip-flopping going on this year to try to help you all not have to be out of the buildings the same day every month or every quarter. So please do add them to your calendar and plan to attend. And we'll hope that that's late enough in February that we have no inclement
Can
weather.
you refresh your slides?
Oh, yeah.
So go back one.
Did I have a typo or something?
No, I put the webinar stuff.
Oh, I'll go back one. Yay. All right, cool. So as Pam was mentioning, we also have these Canvas webinars this year. And so please advertise these. These will be opportunities for teachers to get a certificate recommending CEUs. I mean, it's up to your district whether or not you accept it. It's also up to your district what type of credit they get, but of course the recommendation would be for DLC credit. And so you'll see that for each webinar, it's a 0.1 CEU. And then we would have 10 sessions overall, so they would have opportunity to earn 1 full CEU if your district accepts it. We have for each webinar, each month, there are 2 opportunities, a 4 p.m. and a 7 p.m. Sometimes they're on the same day, sometimes they're not. We tried to work our schedules, tried to get them on the same day, but sometimes they weren't. And you'll see that, like, again, I said my commitment this year was to really go back to basics. So this is what the focus of these webinars for this year are the basics. So you'll see the breakdown for in August, we'll talk about using announcements in calendar, because if nothing else, I think teachers can use announcements in calendar. They don't have to build out these beautiful courses with buttons and banners and home pages and that. I mean, it's great if you can, but just making sure that there's a communication stream with parents and also a calendar so kids know when they have to study or when they have to do a project or do homework or whatever. I think those are 2 really easy ways to get started. In September, we'll look at how modules, course navigation, and then discussions. Because I believe, it's my personal opinion, my daughter says, in my humble but correct opinion, so I'm going to adopt that phrase for this. Teachers should be building their content in modules. Again, I don't care if they use the modules page as a home page or not. If they want a beautiful home page, that's fine. But you know, when we're working with students and we give them a project, especially a technology project, and they spend 4 hours looking for pictures and icons and they spend 30 minutes on the content, that's the way I believe a lot of our Canvas courses now are in the state. We've had people who spent a ton of time on designing beautiful home pages with icons and buttons, but the content behind it needs some work, right? Or just some understanding of really what can I be putting here. And so I think that for me, starting out with teachers, I don't even want to go to that home page. I want to talk about, let's make a module. What does a module look like? How are you going to lay your course out? Are your modules going to be by week? Are they going to be by unit? Are they going to be by theme? You know, how are you designing that course? Where's the repetition and the consistency for students? So we're going to talk about that. The next in October, we'll talk about using pages. So I really want to talk about how pages can be used to support universal design for learning principles, especially principle 1, you know, multiple means of representation, where we talk about having, you know, text-based resources and interactive resources and video resources and everything embedded within a page. So we're definitely gonna go there. In November, we'll talk about using Canvas for assignments and SpeedGrader. I'll also touch on group assignments, peer reviews, and rubrics. December, we'll talk about new quizzes. January, Gradebook and PowerTeacher Pro Grade Pass back. February, Learning Mastery Gradebook and Analytics. We've got some cool new analytics tables that have come out and will be coming out. We're going to talk about Canvas Commons in March, including the resources shared in the NC Commons through DPI and also through NCVPS. I'm going to turn my notifications off so y'all don't have to keep listening to that. It says it's on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know why I keep hearing them. Sorry. We're going to talk about in April, that's when I'll get to create a custom homepage, right? So I do like custom homepages. I do think they're engaging for students. I'm just saying let's do that after we get the meat in the course, right? And then in May, we'll talk about prepping for the following year, do some, reflective activities, do some course evaluation things so that teachers can goal set for the following year. So please do advertise these. There is a printable calendar as well. Beautiful. I had not even seen this with just a second, I don't think.
Yeah, I think you're sharing your screen.
Am I not?
I think you got turned
Did it stop?
Yeah.
Okay, can y'all see my screen now?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so in the presentation, I was going through, to begin with, all of the different webinars. And then now looking at this beautiful calendar that Pam created, love it. And all of the dates and times and topics are on there. So please share, please share. Again, that's kind of my commitment for this year is to back up and restart. Any questions about the webinars before we move ahead with the actual discussion piece content that y'all asked for today? Anything online?
No, we're all good.
All right. Well, you probably saw this beautiful flyer that Lauren created. It's wonderful when you have a team because you have some people, who really like to do some things and have skills at some things, and other people who, don't like those things so much. I say I'm not a graphic designer or anything, and I think Lauren does a great job. She's good at creating pieces like this. So she made a summer checklist. Excuse me, I've got the wrong one linked in. That's my fault. I'll fix that. I put the one from last time. My apologies there. Fix that link real quick. Here it is. This is the one. All right, so for fall start, we're going to remember to review our term dates, and I'll go in and show you this. Is there a specific district or school represented that you're okay with me showing your term dates and maybe even getting started creating those grading period sets? Anybody? I can show you in my sandbox. It's just I don't have real terms imported from PowerSchool, so it doesn't really look right. All right, well, I'm gonna use one then that I know that I can use. So we'll do that. I'll use Rockingham, y'all know. I'll just pick on them. So we're gonna review term dates. So in your,
We also got online, Cleveland County, or Corey volunteered, Ryan Salisbury.
and I didn't hear the first one, that's why.
Cleveland.
All right, so I appreciate it, Ginger. I heard Corey first, so I'll go here. All right, so when you're in your instance, you want to make sure that you have extended your teacher access dates. Let me minimize this a little bit so y'all can see everything. Okay. Your terms import from PowerSchool. Do not ever, please, 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 ever adjust those term dates. If they need to be updated because of inclement weather or something, they get updated through PowerSchool. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not able to get into Canvas. Is there?
So do you log into NCA Cloud? Do you have a red icon on NCA Cloud?
This is,
Excuse me, y'all. Okay, so you don't have, so we need to get that set up. What is your Canvas? Let's see. So you would not want to go to this one. What's your school Canvas you are in? This is your first time. Okay. Can you just watch for now and when we break, I'll see if it may be that they haven't even set your stuff up yet. You're obviously not set up on NCA Cloud yet, and that's how most people log in. So it may just be where you're just ahead of yourself today. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so don't adjust those term dates. If you do, it concludes the courses. So please don't do that. But what you will want to do almost certainly is go and adjust the teacher access end date. You don't have to adjust the start date if you don't want to, but you're going to want to adjust that teacher access end date. Now, the reason why is because once the term ends, the course goes into a read-only status. If you want teachers to be able to continue doing grades, you're going to need to adjust this date and another date I'm going to show you on another page. But this has to be extended if you want teachers to be able to make any changes in their course after that day. So if the last day of class is May 22nd, then you want to make sure that you've given teachers, whatever their last work day is at least, probably, you want to give them that extended time. So it's tedious, right? Because you got to go in and do it to each one, but it's a basically one-time thing. Extend it out far enough that if you do have a snow day or two, it's not going to matter. You're not going to have to go do it again. It's not going to hurt anything to give teachers 10 days instead of 7 days or whatever. That way, if you have 1 or 2 snow days, you don't have to go back and say, oh no, now I've got to extend this even more. Or if you know the last day that school could be extended based on inclement weather, go ahead and make it that day. Try to save yourself some work. I typically didn't go in and adjust anything for the students, TAs, or designers, mainly because I never really use TA or designer roles myself. You all might, but if you do, you get to think about that. And students, the only time I ever extended the student access dates were when we started using the 5 days after the end of school for summer school for reteaching and retesting. And so for the schools that I knew would be using Canvas for that, then I had to go in and extend that student access because my teachers wanted to use Canvas with their students for that reteaching period. Okay. So you might want to think about that. If you know that you're going to do that, you might want to extend student access for 5 days or so too. Now, that also means kids can keep doing stuff in the course. So, you gotta consider all that. There's one weird thing I want to show you. See how for these first few terms, there's 0 courses associated with them? And I've been watching, and it's different in every district. Not every district has duplicate terms for every term for every school. Every district that I've been looking at recently does have duplicate terms, but some only have them for a few schools. So this is what I've concluded, is that some data managers at some schools were working ahead last year, right? And they had already created 19, 20 terms prior to the actual rollover. And so those 19, 20 terms imported, but they didn't have any courses associated with them yet. When we paused your sync, everything changed over to the new year, and then we started a resync, it brought in those 19, 20 terms again. Now, I could tell you to go in and just delete the terms that have 0 courses, but that scares me. I would rather not tell you to do that, right? If you did it, probably wouldn't affect anything. What I would rather do is just know that there's duplicates in there, and when you set up your grading period sets, you're going to select both of them, and I'll show you what I mean. But just know, you can tell which term actually has courses because it tells you.
You can see over here that there are grading period sets already applied. So if you scroll down the list, what you would want to do after you finish doing your grading period sets is you want to make sure that all your terms for the 1920 year were associated with the grading period set. And then, like Rowan's are, okay? Any questions about terms, comments, horror stories? Okay. So now you're going to go to grading. And that's the next little reminder, right? Setting up multiple grading periods. Now you can see that for Rowan, they decided to set up a grading period set for semester 1, quarter 1, quarter 2, semester 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, year long. And then this was just one we played with last year because they were brand new last year.
So Chrissy?
Yeah.
We have a question from Corey. He says, so I have a school that has duplicate terms and courses associated with each, and it's West Middle. Do I need to delete the one that has old courses?
If he knows for certain that those courses are not in use, and he knows for certain the other ones are, then you could delete them. I'm a pack rat digitally. I prefer not to. So if you do it, Corey, go with God. But no, you should be fine. If we were like 3 months into the school year and you knew those courses weren't being done, I would say no problem, delete them. Right here at the start of school, where all that data is coming in, it scares me that we would delete something that really did need to be active. And we noticed it like maybe October last year, but it was only affecting those schools that were the pilot PTP schools. So it was just a handful, whereas now it's like massive, spread to everybody.
And then Katie also had a question. For each quarter, should we keep interns to June for teachers or just a few past the end of the grading period?
It's up to you. I mean, to me, for teacher access dates, I think there's a difference between teacher access dates and what I'm getting ready to show you on grading period close dates. Teacher access dates, I probably would definitely want to give teachers the full year to make any editing changes they wanted to in their courses for that year. One of the reasons I say that is in order for them to add another teacher to share their course with another teacher, they have to have edit access. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, when you go back this week or next week, teachers are going to say, I can't add a teacher to my course and I wanted to share it with them. Can you do it? And you're going to get all these requests to add teachers to old courses. Well, even for you to do it, you're going to have to go in, change the term. Maybe you don't do this. I did it. Maybe I was just nice. I would go in, change the term to default so that it opened the course back up, add a teacher, masquerade as that teacher, accept the course invitation, because if you don't accept the course invitation, it doesn't stick. Then I'd go back, change the term back to what it was supposed to be, and then that teacher was added. Maybe nobody else is crazy like me and did all that, but I got lots of requests at the beginning of the school year for that. If you just extend out the teacher access date, at least it's going to allow them to do it through the school year if they need to. Does that answer?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go into edit mode and by the way, Rowan has one calendar, right? So a lot of times you'll see you have districts or your schools or districts may have an early calendar and a traditional calendar. You may have 4 calendars. You need to set up grading period sets based on those calendar dates. Okay, so if you have an early college, you're going to have a different grading period set than for your traditional. And I say that because most early colleges have a different calendar. Not all do. But basically what you do is you do exactly what Corey did here, and you name your set, and then you attach terms. As you go to attach terms, you click on the box, and anything that has not yet been used can be associated with this grading period set. Okay? Now Corey has pretty much already done all his. He's not gonna associate that migrant more for CCAS or homeless, so they're fine to be there. You also don't want to associate your default term with the grading period set. Your default term is usually where your manually created courses live, your PD courses, sandboxes, things like that. So he's already gone in and done his, but if he had not, he would see lots of future or present or active terms that he could select, okay? And again, if you notice, there are gonna be some duplicates in here because, like, see, there's Westro in middle, there's Westro in middle. We don't know which one's which, right? That's why I say just select them both. It doesn't hurt anything to select them both, just select them both. What would hurt is if you don't get the right one. And that happened a lot last year. So I started getting calls. That's how I discovered what was going on. After the end of the first grading period, people were saying, how come I can't switch my grade book to the second quarter? Well, then that's when I realized, oh, it's because that term that's really the one associated with your course didn't get selected. So just select both of them. I personally never check either of these two boxes at all. And the reason why is I let PowerSchool do the actual overall final grade calculation for the course. Now you can set up grading periods so that for the quarter, Canvas is giving a final grade, but I don't let it do it for the course. And the reason why is because all of our grading period stuff is completely date-based. And if you say that you want to have an exam and that exam's worth 25%, and you have it, the exam grading period be the last day of the semester, teachers who don't have exams might not really realize that that's what you did. And they might set it up as an assignment, a final project or something being due that day for the students. And then that's going to get weighted like 25%, just like if it were an exam, because the teachers wouldn't realize that you had done that. So I don't use weighted grading periods, and I also don't let Canvas display the total for all grading periods. It displays the total for the current term, but not for all grading periods. All right. So then after, you know, I would have done that and then saved it, and then drop down and then start adding in our actual grading periods. Now, Corey's just got the first one set up for this, first grading period set. Corey, is October 9th the end of first quarter? And then second quarter is going to start October 10th?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to unmute you, Corey, and we're going to talk about this and get this, if that's all right, we're going to get this one fully fleshed out. Can you hear me or can you speak now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so let's just make sure. So y'all, before you start doing your grading period sets, you know you got to have your PowerSchool calendars and stuff. And I'm going to say quarter one, or you call it quarter one, or do you call it grading period one? What do you call it?
Yeah, it's quarter one or Q1, whatever you want.
Okay, let's just do Q1. That way it'll be easier.
But what I didn't know is if I could stack these. So like so these are all semester long courses. So yeah, their grading period runs the whole of quarter one and quarter two.
But you're going to need individual grades for quarter one and quarter two. So we're going to set those both up. All right, and so the start date, y'all, you never want a gap between your end date and your start date. So we're gonna go, our start date is the 10th. Do you know what's the end date for quarter two?
January 14th.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, December 20th.
Okay. Oh yeah, you started early. I was gonna say that baby's keeping you in that first semester that long. All right, now notice that it defaulted the close date to the same date. You want to extend the close date. This is actually what really, really affects whether or not teachers can continue grading. Now, teacher access also affects it because teacher access gives them rights to edit it. Think about it. If you can't edit, then you can't grade, okay? But just because you can edit doesn't mean you can grade. This is what means you can grade. Okay, so Corey, how long you want them to be able to grade? Do you know when their grades are due and going to be stored in PowerSchool for first semester?
Not off the top of my head, but you can just pick a date, or you can leave it as the 20th and I'll fix it later.
You want me to just do January 14th for now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, so after you do that, you save it. Now, he chose to create a grading period set that was just first semester. So he just has to have those 2 quarters in there, right? Now, for a year long, you would want to put all 4 quarters, right? So when he goes in here and gets all these fully fleshed out, he's going to have 4, right? He's going to have quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that grading period set. Yeah.
So if the teacher has access for like a year long to a semester course.
Yeah.
So in the grading part, will they just won't be able to change the grade book at all? They can only see just the actual course, but not any of the grades.
Right, they could see the grades, they just won't be able to change the grades after the close date.
Okay, so even assignments and all of that are locked.
Anything that would affect a grade, that's a very good point. So that's another reason for thinking about how long you want to extend that close date. Because if they're using weighted assignment groups, think about the fact of what happens when you move an assignment from one assignment group to another if it was weighted. And or if you change the date to make that assignment go into a different grading period, so you're therefore decreasing the number of assignments in that assignment group that was weighted. Both of those things would cause a change in grade, which means they cannot do it. After the close date, they can't do anything in the course that would affect that first quarter grade. If you're talking about, moving into second quarter from first quarter. All right, so any questions about grading period sets? I don't know if y'all saw this, it's the bane of my existence, but when you have a ton of terms, they told me it was more than 25. See how this overlays here? I'm sorry. I can't tell you. There's an engineering ticket to fix it, but it is a thing. But just know, as you're selecting, they do go away. I mean, like the terms disappear, so the list gets more manageable. All right. Thanks, Corey, for letting me use that. And I forgot to unmute you, so I'm going to do that now. Or I forgot to mute you back. So I'm going to do that now. All right. So any questions about terms, grading period sets? This flyer has how to set your grading period sets, also the link to the guides for teachers. The flyer, the next thing is the new grade book, which is, I've gotten here a couple different times. The old grade book, so let's go ahead and jump to that slide. I'll come back. The old grade book is going away January 2020. So if you haven't turned on, and I don't mean to allow, but if you haven't turned on the new grade book, then I would definitely just go ahead and do that. No sense in starting the year out with the old one and then mid-year having to switch it, okay? So I'll show you how to do that just in case you don't know. The new grade book has cool options for filtering and arranging. You can arrange by module, you can filter by module. A lot of teachers would have been asking for that for a long time. There are missing and late assignment policies. No judgment, philosophically I have issues with it, but there are those policies that you can put into place. There are actually posting policies that just came out. Those of you who are Canvas admin and get support notifications know there's been a lot of support that's had to go into that change. It didn't really affect us because we didn't have active courses during the summer. I mean, I only had a couple of districts or schools that had schools in operation this summer. But basically, what's important for me to tell you about posting policies and also final grade override. So you know how final grade override came out this year with the new grade book? And it was a release, and so it's posting policies. Neither one of those things are really going to work with Power Teacher Pro grade pass back. And the reason why is Power Teacher Pro does not accept a final grade from us. It only accepts individual assignment scores. Okay, so even if a teacher goes in and does final grade override, Power Teacher Pro doesn't care, right? They're just, I mean, they can do a final grade override in Power Teacher Pro, which is fine. But it doesn't care that they did it in Canvas. Same thing kind of with the post grade policy. The posting policy is really cool. It allows teachers to say, for my whole course, I want to have to manually post grades, which is kind of like the old unmute a grade for students. So I don't want them to see it till I'm ready for them to see that grade. Well, the problem is PowerSchool, if they have that assignment set to sync to PowerSchool, it's still going to post the grade because it doesn't care about the setting in Canvas again, you know, that's not something that talks to each other. So teachers can use the posting policy and just make sure they don't have the boxes checked to sync that grade to Power Teacher Pro. But it's important for them to understand that if they have it set to sync to Power Teacher Pro, it doesn't matter if in Canvas that grade isn't posted. Power Teacher Pro is going to take it. Okay. I just don't want them to get confused. So I've been hesitant about sharing way too much about posted policies because of that. And if I were you, I would be too. Like I just, you know, kind of gloss over it. This is something that's available, but, you know, not super like pushing. There is a new gradebook users group. There's a frequently asked questions, and there's overview there that is available for you. In your instance, sorry, y'all, screen resolution's crazy. You're going to go to your settings, and you're going to go to feature options, and you're going to go down. It lives under the courses section, and where I have my new gradebook set to allow, you're going to toggle it to on. Personally, I'm not going to do it quite yet because I still need to be able in my sandbox to show people old and new. But go ahead and turn that to on. That's my recommendation. It's not that much different. I mean, it is different, but it's not to the point that I think that, you know, you would have had to have done substantial training. I'll show it to you. So this is what it looks like. Gotta make that black. I'm gonna figure out how to get this to go away. All right. You can see different options that you have. You can decide to sort it by, display as. You can, you know, have secondary info showing. You can show inactive or completed enrollments there. Obviously, you can jump straight to students and see their individual grade information. You also can drop down here and show the Learning Mastery gradebook, individual view, or gradebook history. You also, this is, oops, sorry. You can see, you know, jump straight out to an assignment that way, especially if you want to get to speed grader. Also, you have the option to do these things. You message students who have a score below a certain score or above, congratulating them. All of the different options that you have here. If you had a grade posting policy, you could decide to automatically post that particular grade or manually post it. Again, just caution with the Power Teacher Pro stuff. With View, you have an option too, and again, this is where I think teachers are going to be so excited because a lot of teachers that are using modules for their course, they will put the most current module first on their like homepage or on the modules page. But they also like to be able to grade those things that they're currently working on first. So they can arrange it by module first to last or module last to first if they don't have a descending order for modules. If it's an ascending order, they can still do it last to first in the grade book so they see that stuff. Or they could do it by due date, oldest to newest, newest to oldest, right? Whatever makes more sense. Filters, this is where they can filter for assignment groups. So if they have a group for quizzes or a group for major and minor, I know a lot of people are moving to major and minor as a district-wide policy for assignment groups. They could sort and see those major and minor grades. They could filter their grade book by modules, and they can also filter it by student groups. I love that, so you can kind of see if they're outliers, right? You could filter by statuses. So if I wanted just to see all of those different statuses, then I could filter it that way. Really giving me some good data to look at as a teacher to get an overall picture of my class and my students. And then also import, export. So importing grades, you can export the grade book. And when you have Power Teacher Pro set up, it also lives under this Actions tab.
All right, so we have one question.
Yeah.
Does this, from Acacia, does this mean if you're using Mastery Pass, it will talk a little better to Power Teacher Pro? In the past, teachers did not like using Mastery due to how it talks to Power Teacher Pro, mostly because Canvas doesn't know that Johnny only did 2 out of the 5 assignments due to displaying Mastery.
So Power Teacher Pro does not accept assignments unless they're assigned to a whole sections or course. So Mastery Pass, assignments that live within the Mastery Pass path that are only assigned to individual students will not pass back. However, saying that, I argue the things that the students are doing that are along their learning pathway are learning activities and not necessarily things that perhaps should be included in the grade calculation. The final, the culminating activity, assessment, project, whatever that you would have at the end of a Mastery Path lesson could be assigned to everyone or to a whole section, and that would pass back. So you understand what I'm saying? So like, let's say that there are 3 practice activities that you're going to have students do, and those vary based on their pre-assessment. Those practice activities, those scores, I argue, are part of those learning activities that wouldn't necessarily be graded or counted for a grade anyway. What would be is at the end, once I've gotten my kids all to the place they need to be to demonstrate mastery of that standard or skill. But the answer is no. Anything that is assigned just to individual students, Power Teacher Pro doesn't accept. It only accepts things that are assigned to a whole section or a whole course.
Okay. Acacia says thank you, and that was a great day.
Well, it is
Right.
It is it's a tough conversation. And it, you know, goes back to, y'all remember NC Falcon? I mean, y'all know what I'm talking, like, it goes back that far. What is a formative assessment that needs to be actually part of the learning experience, and what is more summative that's graded, right? So, I mean, there's a difference there. So go back and, you know, we'll talk about NC Falcon again. I'm gonna go to Power Teacher Pro in just a second. Let's just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna skip forward to Power Teacher Pro. Grade pass back. I did update the presentation. This is the exact same slide deck that I've shared in the past. So if you already got it linked out somewhere, you already got the updates. Oops. But just a reminder that teachers probably need to be reminded that they have to import those categories every year, because they may not remember that. So these are step-by-step directions. Tells them, remember, if you're cross-listing, they need to do that before they import their categories from Power Teacher Pro. Also, You want to make sure that they wait at least 24 hours after they've created them before they try to import them. It says they have to have PowerTeacher Pro and Canvas open at the same time. I still can't wrap my head around why, but that's what it says. And then they import those groups into PowerTeacher or into Canvas from PowerTeacher Pro. If they have multiple sections in the same course, make sure, those categories have to be named the same thing in PowerTeacher Pro too. They have to be the same categories. When they import them, they're going to import with this icon. I know y'all know this. I'm just reviewing it real quickly. Number one problem, people say my assignments aren't going to PowerTeacher Pro. Well, it's because all your assignments are in categories that don't have that icon, right? That icon of the PowerTeacher Pro categories. Assignments have to be in those categories in order to pass back. The categories import to the bottom of the list. So sometimes people, if they already have 150 assignments in their course, they never even see those categories because they don't scroll all the way down. It's really easy to click on the 3 dots over here to move content from one assignment group to another. So if they have imported a course that already has a bunch of assignments, they could just click to say, move these now to this category and move them to the PowerTeacher Pro category. It's not like they have to drag them one at a time. Also, 3 dots up here, that's where the option to import assignment groups lives. Okay. Also have to make sure that all assignments they want to pass back are set to sync to PowerTeacher Pro. Right? They have to be published, and they have to have a due date, and the characters, it has to have less than 30 characters in the name. And these 2 green buttons have to be checked. So notice they're not green here, so that would not sync. It needs to be green. The way it gets to be green, first of all, is when they create the assignment. This screenshot's from the assignment edit page. Is at the bottom, there's a box that says include this assignment in the grade passback or sync desist. But they also, on their assignments page, can just toggle those. They can just click on those little bullseyes or whatever that icon is, it looks like. They can just click there and it will turn it green too. So they can either open and edit and check that box, or they can just click there. But those are the 3, well, there's more than 3, because I talk about due dates and everything too, but all those conditions have to be right for it to pass back. Okay. In the new grade book, I showed you under actions is where it's going to have that. That's the old grade book. This is the new grade book. So under actions, it'll drop down and you'll see a sync to PTP, NC, and then it'll have your district or school name there. That's how they sync manually. However, I'm going to show you in a sec, they can also set it up to just sync daily, and they don't ever have to go in and do that. There should be a monitoring and reporting tab, or it might say grade sync. They changed the name of it somewhere mid-year last year, so some of y'all have monitoring and reporting, some of you had grade sync. On this page, there are actually 2 tabs. The first one says reporting, the second one says sync. You have this at the district level too. So on your account level, you can go to monitoring and reporting and see all of the syncs through the whole district. Or teachers and individual courses can see it. I also linked a dictionary here. They're already pretty descriptive in terms of what's missing, if there's an error, but this dictionary tells them what the error is, tells them what it means, and tells them how to fix it. So teachers have this in their courses. They can see when if there was an error and something failed, they can look at that error and figure out what is it I have to do. Okay. Again, I've said there are 2 tabs on there, or 2 tabs on that page. The first is reporting, which is what we just looked at. The second is sync. This is really cool because they could just schedule a daily sync. And think about that's going to be probably not high traffic time. It's going to cut down on the amount of data that's been sent at one time. So it just should make things smoother. So that's new. That's one of the things I updated for this year. I didn't have that slide in there last year. So if you're just doing one thing to point out to teachers, you might want to point this out. And I mean, it's been available since probably mid-year last year. I just didn't have it at the beginning of the year when I shared this with y'all. And just again, all these reminders, we've already pretty much talked about them. Just encourage your teachers to submit support tickets. Whether you have tier 1 support that comes directly to us and or you have 24/7 support, which you have to answer the support tickets and escalate to us, it's going to be a lot easier if they submit it from the course where they're having the problem. None of us have access to PowerTeacher Pro, so if they can do screenshots of PowerTeacher Pro, you know, if there are issues with Grade Pass Back, really encourage them to use the support system. And that's the same too with y'all. I mean, if you're having issues with your sync, you know, courses are missing, teachers are missing from courses, students missing from courses, anything that's going on, especially that's PowerSchool related, because we can't see PowerSchool, if you can submit tickets with screenshots, it really is helpful. That way we can say, oh, well, we can see what's going on here.
Yeah, because a lot of times the first thing they'll ask for is, can you send us a screenshot? If you don't use the screenshot, so. If you're sending yourself that first step.
And tip here, our service level agreements say that we have to respond to the initial ticket within a certain amount of time. So if their response to you is, send me a screenshot, we've met our service level agreement. That doesn't mean it's resolved for you, right? But the more information you can provide up front to where they can actually investigate and get you an answer, the more likely you're going to get it resolved more quickly, right? Anyway, so definitely encourage people to submit tickets. Questions about Grade Pass Back? All right, so this is the next thing that Lauren included in the beginning of the year checklist is just teacher communication. And I put the Canvas PowerTeacher Pro Grade Pass Back here too. Also, if y'all know what I'm talking about, if I say one-to-one versus one-to-many configuration with sections and courses. Okay, if you are in a one-to-one configuration, meaning that for every single PowerSchool course, a separate Canvas course is created, and your teachers want to cross-list, they can do it. Sometimes I've seen people like taking ownership of things that teachers can do. Feel free to share the guide with teachers and let them cross-list their own classes if you want to. Now, not to say that you shouldn't support them, but I mean, they can do it. They have the capability of cross-listing their own courses if they want to. Even if you're in a one-to-many configuration, sometimes you have to manually cross-list things that don't have the same PowerSchool codes, because the only way that those sections get nested in one Canvas course, even in a one-to-many environment, is if the course code in PowerSchool is exactly the same. So let's think about fine arts. You know how fine arts have the BIPA, beginning, intermediate, proficient, and advanced? Those all have different course codes. But most fine arts teachers don't want those all to be separate Canvas shells because all the kids are sitting in their room at the same time. So, but they can cross-list them. So the guide to do that is there. And then this beginning and end of year checklist is pretty cool too. I think it forces a copy, but it has some things and it's like, okay, this is best practice, this is exemplary, this is essential. Like, so it gets them thinking about things they should be included within their course. I feel like it's a really easy way to do so little low touch PD, right? Send out this checklist, say, hey, review this, take a look at this as you're getting ready to set up your course for the year.
Real quick.
Yeah.
At our middle schools, we're running into some issues where some courses for teachers are automatically cross-listing and they don't want to cross-list it. Is that in the PowerSchool setup because the course codes are the same?
So it is, so when districts decide to connect to PowerSchool or schools, you have a choice of one-to-one to one-to-many. If yours are automatically cross-listed, then it's one-to-many. You can't decross-list those. I can tell you how to do it, but it's work on your end to do it. I don't know if you remember, you were already started by the time we did the rollover survey in the spring?
No.
Okay.
Start July.
Okay. Every year, we send a rollover survey to districts and schools and say, when do you want us to pause your Sync with Power School? When do you want us to start your Sync with Power School? And then we also ask an additional question that is, do you want to change anything with your configuration? And so if you decide throughout this year that you don't want it to be one-to-many, then that's when you would let us know that. After we're already pulling it in, it's the way to manually separate them is that you would have to create a course, then cross list. Let's say there are only 2 sections that had been okay. So you would create a manual course, and then you would take one of those sections out and cross list it into that manually created course. If there are 3 sections.
Do the teachers have the ability to do that on their own, or would I have to do it?
So the teachers have the ability to cross list. The teachers, depending on your district settings, can or cannot create new courses. It just
So if they
depends.
can create new courses, they can create a new course and then uncross the section.
Right.
We have teachers who want to do that because we're in an A-day, B-day school.
Right.
And so they'll want to separate it out because one day will get ahead of the other, so they'll want to be cross-listed.
Right.
And so that's our need of when we use that.
And anything you need to do to meet the needs is fine. It is, I personally I just would not, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I just said, y'all, you can have different due dates for sections. You can have different due dates for, different, you can even publish announcements just for specific sections within a course. So use your sections to differentiate within the course. And I'll be honest, the reason why I was kind of hard-nosed like that was because so many teachers, in creating content in one course and having to constantly import it into the other, they made so many big mistakes that caused them like almost heart attack panic, that it wasn't, to me, it wasn't worth it. Like, because if they're creating content all the time over here and importing it into this course, it's going to happen a couple of times a year where they're going to forget to select the box that says select content, and they're going to import all content, which means they're going to duplicate everything in the course. And if they've got 150 assignments and now they have 300 assignments, and then they're going to delete stuff, and they're going to delete the wrong one, and they're going to delete the one that has submissions and grades attached to it, and they're going to call you at 11 o'clock at night, and they're going to be freaked out. So I fully support a one-to-many configuration for that reason. Yeah.
If the one-to-many, and they go in and decross list and put them into a manually created course, Greg Taskback would not work with Power
It should, because that section ID is still the same, and this, everything's still connected with the section ID. Honestly, I haven't tested it myself. Nobody's ever told me it didn't, but I also didn't do it myself. And again, for those reasons, like y'all do know about undelete, don't you? I'm gonna show you. If you don't know this is another thing teachers can do. It's not like you have to do it yourself, but on any course, sorry about this. At the end of the homepage URL, you can enter /undelete, and it'll take you to a page that has everything that's ever been deleted in the course, and you can restore it. So that's something to make sure teachers know so they don't panic quite as bad. But I'm telling you, unless they have changed the name of assignments, if they have done that duplication by importing again, they still don't know what they're really restoring. You know what I mean? Like, so they have to restore everything and then go in and change the names of the ones they want to delete. So I definitely, I understand, the desire to separate the courses sometimes, but sometimes, when you're thinking about the big picture, like keeping them together can be a better answer.
Is there a way we can go in to look to see if we're set up as one-to-one versus one-to-many?
Well, generally I look at yeah, I can do it. I think we can.
I mean, we don't have to do it right now.
It's not, no, there's not a setting. Basically what I do is I run a provisioning report, and if I run a provisioning report and for your sections, if your section ID and your course ID are the same, then that's a one-to-one. If it's one-to-many, they're different. Oh, I need to plug in. And the other thing is, I usually, actually before I even do that, I usually would just go into a high school and pull up an NC Math 1 class. Because if there are 60 kids in an NC Math 1 class, you know you're one to many. That's actually my first go-to. It's gotten me before because the teacher cross-listed herself and I didn't know it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, they're one to many. And then, oh no, that teacher just was smart and cross-listed already. But that's usually where I start looking. I wish there was a button I could see. Last year I tried to get a report too, and I couldn't, there's nothing I can pull to like a report, like overall statewide to show me what it is. But, I know I have one district that they're gonna poll teachers this year, and they're gonna say which do you prefer? Do you prefer it to all the kids to be in the same course, or do you want them separated? And they're gonna make their decision for next year based on that. I mean, you certainly wanna meet the needs of your teacher. I'm a fan of one to many for the reasons I mentioned. I'll shut some of this stuff down.
We got about 10 minutes before lunch.
Okay. And I didn't go through half the stuff that we're gonna go through. I will say, if teachers need help migrating course content, you got it there. Okay. Parent observers, y'all, teachers can now mass generate pairing codes. So remember that process changed a little bit last year. You do have to have the permission turned on for teachers to generate observer codes for students. If you don't have that turned on, they're not going to be able to do it. It's not liking me right this second. It might be because my screen resolution is crazy. Okay, I'm going to not do that, but trust me, you got to enable this. I don't know why.
It turns green.
It turns green. I don't know why it's not turning green.
Maybe because you've got to follow. There's like a checkbox that said use to follow.
I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it right in a second, but you just turn that on. Once you turn that on, then teachers can generate a CSV file. They do it from their, the people page in a course, because I just turned it on for, where was I at yesterday? So I'll show you that permissions on here. So the permission's on, and then within courses, a teacher will go to their people page, and then they will go to, if I can get to it because it's over here, the top right hand corner, and export pairing codes, and it exports a CSV file with them. That CSV file has the pairing code, and it also tells it when it expires. Pairing codes only live for 7 days, and they're only good for one guardian. They can generate a second one if they need a second one, a third one, fourth one, whatever. They don't cancel each other out if they generate new ones. Okay. So that's new. Quizzes next, or new quizzes, y'all, the guides are there. It just continues to get better and better and better. The outcomes alignment and the outcomes reporting, are fantastic. The user interface is fantastic. The ability to have all the different question types is fantastic. They just continue to add. If you don't do anything else, like pay attention in the release notes to the new quizzes or quizzes next stuff. Because it's really nice. There's no date that's been announced when they'll deprecate the old classic quizzes, but just know that will come at some point. So along the way, you want to have teachers start getting familiar with the new quizzes. These are product updates that I won't say announced at InstructureCon, because I think it was more of a recap of the year. But But nothing I feel like that I need to point out today that hasn't been already. But just know, I did highlight that bulk pairing code creation, which is what I just showed you. We have a statewide meeting every month, y'all. If you're not joining us, come join the party. It's the first Monday of every month, virtually at 2 p.m. So September 9th, which is not the first Monday of September, but we had to adjust because Labor Day, I think. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah. So we had to adjust. So September 9th. If you have a topic that you want us to cover, these are hour-long meetings. And what we've been doing is having people from districts. Ginger Jackson's on here, I think, or she was. If I look at the attendee list now, but thank you for sharing. We've been having districts share stuff that they're doing. And so if you have something you want to share and or you want to hear about something, let us know that survey. As a reminder, NCAT online, she runs 3 challenges. She's opening up registration October 1st for the next set. The current set don't end until September 21st, so technically people could still register and finish the course by September 21st. But she has 3 teacher challenges, a beginning, intermediate, and advanced Canvas challenge, as well as the principal courses I mentioned to you. We also have Canvas training courses. There's an admin training course that you all can get credit for if you'd like. I actually have the Getting Started with Canvas for Leaders and Growing with Canvas links to those where you can get them to pull them into your instance if you want to run them. There are some Canvas MOOCs that are free that you could point teachers to. And then of course, we have the NCAT online again. We have an admin think tank. If you're interested in being part of that, let me know. Try to share that out, but you can look back at past agendas to see the things we talk about. Some of the things we talked about last time were like what settings everybody had turned on in their account, what LTIs people had installed, what feature options people had turned on. So, we kind of talk about some of those just real technical stuff on the back end of Canvas. And there's no presentation, anything like that. Jake Standish and Charlotte Meck really helps to facilitate that. I just get it set up. I'm trying to find a date and location for fall, but we meet quarterly, and they're actually planning to present together at NC TIES again, if possible. Last year, that people who participated in Admin Think Tank did a panel presentation at NC TIES too. Are we out of time? Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to go through. This is a brand new resource, y'all. It's fantastic. Especially if you have digital learning facilitators or a curriculum group or anybody in your district or school that wants to work on really doing some high level analysis and planning of what you're doing with Canvas, then I encourage you to check out these resources on the Canvas success model. There's some worksheets that you can use and fill out. There are some just good things to remember to help get those discussions going. It's a brand new resource. If you have hot topics you want to discuss after lunch, please jot them there. Please make sure you've updated your Canvas contact info for the district or school. And then we have Stacy. I saw Tika this week. We're got a vacant educator online position, perhaps, maybe.
Yes, Tika's last day is next Friday.
Yeah.
She will be leaving. She's actually she recently graduated with her cybersecurity certifications, and she's actually got a job at a community college working with cybersecurity. So sad to see her go. I'm very happy that professionally she's doing something she's passionate about. So.
Yeah, it was funny because I opened the presentation last night. I was like, yeah. And then we also have a feedback survey. It's always looking for feedback on how we can help improve and meet your needs more or better. So don't forget to check out the hot topics. Everybody have a good lunch. Pam, what time are we reconvening so the people online?
1:15.
1:15, y'all, online. We'll be back together.
And our Wilkes County folks, any recommendations for lunch? For those of us face-to-face, sorry, online, y'all are gonna have to cook yourselves.
The closest spot is Bushman at Smithhouse. Just you walk there.
Is it good?
No, or a lot of varieties.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. I think that's where we're headed. So. All
I'm going to stop the recording and we will pick back up at 1:15.